Hi, I'm Phyllis and my website is southernfrugal.com. Today we went out and had barbecue, and Mr. Bucky agreed if I would go with him, he would do a video tonight on barbecue in the different areas where he has lived. He is somewhat of an expert on barbecue. He eats at every chance he gets in every city we've ever been in. So I wanted to do a little interview with him. So I'm going to ask some questions and we'll get him to answer. Okay?
Okay.
All right, let me turn the camera around now. Hold on. All right, here's Mr. Bucky, and I'm going to ask the first question. What was the first time you remember having barbecue?
I was about 11 years old. We had moved to Columbia, and I know we were living close to this restaurant that my father particularly liked. It was a barbecue restaurant. And what we would do, always on the 4th of July and Labor Day, we would get barbecue. And he would go down to that restaurant and bring it home. And we just learned that we were going to have it then.
All right, now what kind of barbecue sauce was that?
I'd say it was mustard base.
Mustard base.
Right.
Okay, so then what other area, well, I should say, what other state did you have barbecue in?
In North Carolina, up in Winston-Salem. I remember the barbecue restaurant very well. We ate there right often. And their barbecue up in North Carolina is basically tomato based.
Uh-huh.
It's good though.
Yeah.
It's
now,
different.
It seems like I remember a story when you were working up Winston-Salem. What were you, in your 20s?
Yeah.
And you told me about getting the flu really bad.
Right.
And but when you got well, what did you go eat?
I ate a plate of barbecue.
And it didn't even make you sick?
No, I was so glad to get it. Because I had food poisoning, I think.
Yeah, and you ate barbecue.
Yeah.
Boy. All right, so you're real familiar with low country barbecue, like low country in South Carolina, which
Yes.
would be from Myrtle Beach all the way down really to the South Carolina line would be considered low country.
And up as far as Manning, up
towards the central part.
King Street.
So what kind of barbecue do they have?
Hot vinegar-based barbecue.
Now that's my favorite.
Oh, I tell you, it's good too.
Yeah. So and then in the central part of South Carolina, which is of course where we are now, what kind of barbecue is most popular here? And by the way, what y'all hear in the background is a kitten and a dog wrestling.
Yeah. Son is right over there with Ranger.
All right, so Central South Carolina barbecue.
It's mostly mustard based. Now you get over as far as excuse me, as far as McCormick, going toward Augusta and Greenwood, that gets into some tomato base and some ketchup base.
Yeah. Okay, well now this one I remember. Palatka, Florida. I remember that one very well.
Yeah, we got a good memory of Palatka.
So what did you do?
We'll tell about it. We went down to the Gator Bowl and couldn't get tickets right close by, so we chose to stay in Palatka, Florida.
You mean we couldn't get a motel room?
That's right. And we went out to eat and went to a place called...
Okay, I'm going to have to correct him on that. No, we checked into the motel, and you were the one that suggested, I need to go out and get barbecue.
That's right.
All right, and then what happened?
Okay, I went out and got it and brought it back. And we had the plates right there and looked down and lo and behold, here was the barbecue. A slice of pork with some kind of sauce poured over it. And that's what our barbecue was. It was terrible.
Yeah, and let me add that when I tasted of it, I was pretty sure it was 3 or 4 days old, maybe older. Yeah, it was terrible. All right, and so now that brings us to, let's do the one in New Orleans, which wasn't really barbecue, but we went to, was that a German restaurant?
Yes, it was the one, I remember this well because it was where they had the fan assembly. It's an old house, old restaurant with very high ceiling. And the fan assembly, all of these various overhead fans were connected by cable. And it was interesting just to watch them operate. And they had shrimp that was, we're going to have to say it was barbecue.
No, it wasn't.
Well, it was
wasn't
hot.
barbecue.
I know that. It was hot.
It was vinegar and the hottest hot sauce you have ever put in your mouth.
Yeah, it was
And
hot.
that's what they call barbecued shrimp.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you now, it was delicious.
The rest of the meal,
Right.
but not that.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
you couldn't even taste the shrimp. It was so hot.
Well, it was a little bit too hot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Okay, so now my absolute favorite of all time would be Texas barbecued brisket.
Mm.
And what highway were we on? We were on the interstate going down,
Interstate 20, I guess it was.
going towards,
Well, we'd already.
going
we-
towards
we
San
get-
Antonio.
That's right.
Right, and we were hungry.
We were hungry.
You want me to tell it?
Yeah, no, well, because you have first-hand knowledge before you even offered me.
That's
something.
true. All right. So it was, we were hungry, and it was really way past lunchtime. And so we saw a little place, a little place, looked like an old filling station.
Mhm.
And it said barbecue outside. So we didn't know what barbecued brisket was. We didn't know what brisket was, much less barbecue. And so Mr. Bucky pulled off, and he told me to run in and get us a couple of sandwiches, and then we could continue on our trip.
And that was after we had seen they had an open pit.
Yeah, they had an open pit there. And so I went in, and I was looking at the menu, and I thought, well, we don't know about this place, so I'll just get one sandwich and ask her to cut it in half.
That's right.
And so when I asked the lady behind the counter if they would cut it in half, she looked at me like I was crazy. So, but anyway, we proceeded on down the road because we were in a hurry. And so I started eating my half, and I could not believe how delicious it was. And I was hoping that when Mr. Bucky started on his half that he wouldn't like it, and then I would get his half too. But that isn't the way it worked out. We both super loved it. Yeah. And so we continued throughout the state of Texas getting barbecued brisket. The only thing we didn't have was barbecued javelina.
That's true.
And they might have slipped some of that in on us. We don't know.
We looked for places.
But what was that one place that when we were going to Fort Davis, the place that was Midway Junction?
Junction, oh yeah.
Yeah, we
They
stopped.
got a great barbecue.
Yeah, we stopped there many times,
Yeah.
going back and forth. Yeah. So that was Texas. So now, my next question to you is, why don't you explain how y'all do the barbecue here? Because I know you've done a lot of barbecue. And how do you actually cook it and that kind of thing? Because I never was privy to any of that. It was always just the men out cooking stuff on a pit, in a pit.
That's exactly what it was. But we also kept a little 55-gallon drum that we cut out the bottom of it, and that served to cook the firewood. As we just
Would you turn it
plumbing
down sideways?
Um,
The drum?
Yes, or we dropped it through the top. Anyway,
And then you shovel the coals out?
that's right. The coals all came down on the pit, or under the pit.
And so,
And we took a shovel and got all the coals out of there as the coals were ready.
so they were ready when they were bright red? Is that the way it
Right,
was?
that's correct.
All right, and what kind of wood was that?
Hickory.
Oh, and by the way, in Texas, the barbecue, I think, and I don't know if this is right or not. If some of y'all are in Texas, you probably can tell us. They use the mesquite.
Right, and the closer you got to San Antonio and points west toward El Paso, you got a lot of mesquite.
Yeah, everything was barbecued using
Right,
mesquite.
right.
Yeah, yeah, which is a milder flavor really than the hickory, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little different.
Yeah. All right.
I like hickory better.
Well, I like the mesquite.
Yeah, I know.
So all right, you got the barrel and you've got all the coals and everything, and what do you do then? Put the pig. You got a grate, right?
That's right. We got a grate.
Did you dig a hole?
Well, we dug out the pit.
Right.
The pit was
So it's pit cooked barbecue.
That's exactly right.
Huh.
And of course that was for the you put a whole hog on it.
That's
really
been gutted, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Did it have a head on it?
Well, you can leave the head on, but we did.
You never did. Yeah.
No, we can.
That makes it a little too
something.
a little too personal, right?
For us mild mannered boys.
Yeah. So how many of it? I know that you went many times when they cooked barbecue. So it was a bunch of guys, and y'all would go out there and have target practice. I remember that.
Well, that was one time that I remember. Basically, what we'd have, about 4 of us would stay the whole night, and we would, of course, keep each other company and recall experiences that we'd had over the years, and it was a lot of fun. Now, some of them came and went.
Didn't stay all night.
Yeah, didn't stay all night. I guess altogether we probably had about 15 coming and going.
Yeah.
But there was about 4 of us that just stayed the whole night, and we really had a good time.
Yeah,
and of
so
course we had to stay the whole night in order
to watch
turn the hog finally and baste the hog. We were basting the hog with
like a mop
like a
thing.
mop
Yeah, I
like
saw
thing.
that. Yeah.
And what you would use would be the same base that you would be putting into your barbecue.
Now, did you put something over the pig when he was cooking to keep the heat in?
No, you don't need to do that.
You know.
You
So
don't
is
need
there
to
a
do
lot
that.
of smoke?
What you put over it would be some tin, maybe.
That's
A
what
piece of
I was.
tin.
Yeah.
You could do that.
So you do
And
put something
it
over.
keeps the smoke in, too.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and so, all right, then, of course, when I would come to the barbecue, the ladies came at what, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and y'all would, all right, I know what we need to ask. What about the hash? Because that's different everywhere.
Well, the hash, in the area where we live right now, which is mustard based, the hash tends to be rice based. I mean, we end up
The
with
filler is rice.
We end up with a lot of rice.
Yeah.
And some of the barbecue. So you would have barbecue and rice with sauce, and that would be your hash.
All right, but do you somehow grind that meat up for the hash, don't you? How do you do that?
Well, first of all, you got to get it off of the fire, and it is red hot. So you've got to have some big gloves. I mean, some real gloves.
They're like leather gloves?
Well, you need rubber gloves.
They're fireman's gloves, right?
Fireman type gloves.
Really?
That's
Is that what
you
they
need.
are?
Yeah. And then you pull it apart, and of course you can get by then. Otherwise, you're just going to get burned up.
So do you, all right, so I want to get back to the hash. Somebody has to grind that meat up, because every bit of hash I ever have, the meat's all ground
Right, well that's
up.
done after we separate it out to a point
But
where
I'm
we
asking,
can.
how do you grind it up?
That wasn't my job.
Oh, that wasn't your job. That wasn't your specialty.
I don't remember how they did that.
Well, when I make it here, I just grind it up in the food processor.
Right, I guess you could do that, or whatever you had to grind it up with. But basically, what the hash is a repeat of or a little bit of the same barbecue that you're fixing.
But some of the browner parts. Maybe.
That's right. That's right. And you can put a little bit of the fat in the hash.
Yeah.
that you wouldn't put on
Yeah.
a plate.
Yeah. So now the first hash I remember having was at Piggy Park, probably in the 1976 maybe, and I had never heard of hash. And so I asked the girl behind the counter what that was. It was sort of like a buffet, and she said, "Well, that's hash." And I thought, okay. So I said, "Well, what do you do with that?" She said, "Well, you put it over rice." It was the most awful stuff I'd ever, because it tastes like
it was
liver.
liver hash.
Liver, I
All
could
right.
not stand it.
That's still an option with a Little Country Barbecue.
So is that a pig liver? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
It have to be, I guess. Yeah.
That's still an option. But
You don't like
can't-
it either?
I can't stand it.
Oh, I couldn't stand it either.
I only had it one time and said I'll never get this again. But some people evidently like the liver hash.
Oh, I could not eat it.
Yeah.
All right, so in the hash in McCormick County was they instead of rice they used potatoes.
Yeah.
Right.
McCormick, Greenwood, and I think on into Greenville. Instead of the rice, they stayed up with these big bowls of potatoes, and then you had to have somebody cutting up potatoes. About 2 or 3 people cutting up potatoes all the time.
And you cook them till they come apart.
That's right, and
And
then,
that's
of
what
course,
makes it thick.
That's right. So you've got all those potatoes that you've got to fix if you're not using rice.
Yeah. Oh, I much rather have the rice.
And they don't use rice that much up there.
Yeah.
They really don't.
But they do in the Low Country. It's
Oh,
all
yeah,
rice.
It's
isn't
always
it? Yeah.
all right.
All right, so now somebody was asking me in a comment the other day, what was your favorite barbecue sauce? And I told them I thought your number one favorite was the Carolina Gold.
Yeah, I like the Carolina Gold. And not all Carolina Golds. It's got to be a good brand of Carolina Gold.
All right, but your next, because I remember this, was the Baby Ray's. You used to use that a lot.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, back in the 1980s, I remember you using the Baby Ray's. No,
Right.
not 80s, 90s. Yeah, because it was vinegar-like and hot.
Right,
No, I know what you did. You used that and something else.
right.
Yeah. So,
But I see you can add Texas Pete and get that thing real hot.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's just you can add it to taste.
Yeah. So have you had barbecue anywhere else that you can remember? Did we have it in Mississippi or Alabama?
I don't recall.
I bet we
as
had some in Alabama because every trip we've ever taken, you've had to find a barbecue place.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Did you
it was-
apologize to me for that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
Sorry.
Right.
Oh,
Oh, how about that place you were talking about today, where we went? I don't remember what trip that was, but wherever we went, you really liked it. Was that in Augusta?
I don't know what.
Wait, we got 2 dogs here. Mr. Bucky's had the 2 dogs, and now one of them's jumped up. Anyway, so would you consider yourself somewhat of an expert on barbecue?
Well, I guess so. I guess so
Well,
because
let's say you're an expert at tasting barbecue.
and the barbecue hash. I've got to have good hash.
Yeah.
I mean that's extremely important.
Now,
To have good hash.
that place that we went to in Texas, because you got pork barbecue in Texas too.
Right.
I always just got brisket, but you would get brisket and pork and ribs, and I think you even got their sausage one time.
Well,
I mean, you're just all meat person, right? just admit it. Yeah. So
I
that
started
time,
cutting back on the meat now.
yeah,
in
you
recent
have.
years.
You have, but we celebrated today, and you got to eat what you
Yes,
wanted.
I did.
So that place that we went in Texas, where you walk when you go into the restaurant, you walk through all the pits where they're cooking everything.
Right,
And you
that
pick,
was-
you
that
pick it out yourself.
The same people that ran that restaurant, and I can't remember which town it was in, were the same people that ran the restaurant at Junction.
Oh, really?
Well, right, same
Huh?
people.
I didn't
So
know that.
you walk by an open pit, and you can see where they've been barbecuing.
Yeah, the whole thing. Well, now let me just mention this, because I was, I don't remember what I was looking up, but something about Texas and Junction. And around Junction, they have all kinds of hieroglyphics on the river and all that.
Yeah.
But you know, we never got to see anything like that because we were always getting barbecue.
No.
Weren't we?
We were, at one time we were looking for Three Rivers. If
Yeah.
you remember, Junction.
But did
Three
we
Rivers.
find barbecue there? Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere we went, we found barbecue. And what about the one out of San Antonio, Rudy's?
Rudy's.
Yeah, now you love that one.
Oh yeah. Well, we got Rudy's sauce.
Yeah, we did, and brought it back.
Rudy's sauce back.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that was that brisket or pork?
It was brisket.
Yeah.
But since you mentioned the pork, in South Carolina, what's real popular now is pig pulling.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you can go ahead and have the barbecue on the hog, and instead of pulling it off from where it's been prepared, just let whoever you invited start
They pull
pulling
their
it
own.
off even before you would take it off the fire.
Oh,
It's got-
really? They
it's
pull it
got-
while it's on the fire?
You've got to take it off the fire. It's still hot though.
Yeah, real
That's
hot.
the main thing we've got to understand.
So it's in long strings almost.
Yeah, but it's still good. Pig pulling is good.
Yeah,
It's
because
a
it's
good.
super fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think you did a really good job, and I look forward to you making more videos, Mr. Bucky, because a lot of people are asking for more videos.
Okay. Well, I want to just say one thing. I have always liked vinegar-based barbecue. Hot vinegar-based
Yeah.
barbecue.
That's my favorite too.
So, but I can't get by liking the mustard-based a little bit better.
Oh, you
So
do?
I've gotten to where I do like the mustard base a little bit better, depending on who has prepared it.
Yeah. So we went to Piggy Park today.
Right, we had
And-
the piggy part.
Yeah, and you didn't get their ribs today, I noticed. You just got the plate.
No, no.
All right, and tell them what I got.
You got a basket. No, well, they made a basket into it.
Yeah,
You got the brisket, the barbecue beef brisket
Right.
sandwich.
with fried okra
Yeah,
and French fries.
right. And you love their French fries, don't you?
Yeah, I do, because they fry them in peanut oil.
Right.
Yeah. All right, well, we need to wrap this up. I don't know how long the video is, but y'all been asking a lot for videos from Mr. Bucky, and here he is. So, all right, y'all, we will see y'all next time.